Hello Year 6 and welcome to today's maths video. Let's have a look at what we're going to be doing today. Right then, before we move on to our new learning, let's have a recap of the skill that we've been looking at so far. You've got 3 questions there. I want you to pause the video and have a go at them, making sure you choose the most suitable method for the calculation. Off you go. Right, let's have a look at the answers. So the first answer is 5, and you should have done that using mental strategy. You would have been able to have done that one in your head. This question here, the answer is 36.9, and you might have done that by saying 1.23 times by 10, then times by 3, or 1.23 times by 3 and then by 10. And then the last question, the answer is 101.2, and you probably did that using a formal written method such as column multiplication. Today we're going to be looking at dividing decimals by 2-digit numbers. You'll see that a lot of the strategies that we look at today are the same as the strategies for multiplying decimals by 2-digit numbers, but we're applying them to division instead. With that, let's look at our first question. 8.4 divided by 12. Pause the video and have a go. What strategies could we use to solve this question? Right, and so the first thing that we could look at is the worded method, where you turn the number into words. So I've got 8.4, which means I've got 84 tenths divided by 12, which is 7 tenths. 7 tenths as a decimal, 0.7. Let's have a look at another strategy. 8.4 divided by 12 again, but this time we're going to have a go at turning this into a whole number. You also did this method for multiplication. So if I have 8.4, what do I need to do to turn that into a whole number? What do I need to times that by? Think about the place value chart. Well, 8.4 times 10 gives me 84. So now my calculation is easier because now I'm dealing with whole numbers. And I can do this in my head easily. 84 divided by 12. What is that? You could write out your 12 times table if that helps you. Or you could do 12 times 5. You could go from there if that helps you. And you know that the answer is 7. But my calculation isn't 84 divided by 12. My calculation is 8.4 divided by 12. So what do I need to do to 7 now? Well, if I times by 10 to get my whole number, I then have to do the inverse here. So instead of multiplying by 10, I now need to divide by 10. 7 divided by 10, what is that? 0.7. Let's have a look at another question. So this question is slightly more tricky, and that's because we're now dealing with a larger decimal number. Now I've got 6.48 divided by 24. Pause the video and have a go at that question. So what do I need to do to 6.48 to turn it into a whole number? What do I need to multiply it by? Again, think of your place value chart. I need to multiply it by 100. 6.48 multiplied by 100 is 648. Now I've got 648 divided by 24. Now my last question, 84 divided by 12, we could do that in our heads using an informal strategy. But this question's a little bit trickier. Can you remember what strategies you would use when dividing a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number? We use chunking method, which is also known as long division. Now, we looked at long division a lot in class, so when I show you my example, this will hopefully jog your memory. So remember, long division involves taking chunks of the divisor away from the number. So this is my divisor here, the number that I'm dividing by. And then I've got to think of my first chunk to take. Now in class, we always said, what should we try first? Well, let's try 10. So 24 times 10 would get me 240. Now, My number is 648, so could I make my chunk bigger? What could we do to 240? Well, we could double it, which would be 24 times 20. That would give me a chunk here of 480, which you then subtract. I'm now left with 168, and I have to decide what chunk of 24 should I take away now. Well, I know that 24 times 10 is 240. That chunk is too big. So what could I do? Well, I could halve it. 240 halved gives me 120, which is a chunk of 24 times 5. I'm then left with 48, and I know that 24 doubled, 24 times 2 is 48. To get my answer, I then add up what I've chunked. 20 add 5 add 2 is 27. So I know that my answer is 27. However, my question was not 648 divided by 24. My question was 6.48 divided by 24. So can you tell me, what have I got to do to 27 now? Got to divide it by 100. What is 27 divided by 100? 0.27. Let's have a look at another way we could answer that question. Now, another way we could do it is by actually leaving the decimal points in the place for long division. This strategy is suitable, is really good if you are excellent at multiplying by decimals. So if you can think to yourself, okay, well, what could I times 24 by? What decimal? Well, I know I could times it by 0.2, which would get me to 4.8, and I put the 0 there to make it easier. Same with this one here, so I'm left with 1.68. What could I times 24 by? Well, I would need to multiply it by 0.05, which would give me 1.20. And then same here, what do I need to times 24 by to get 0.48? Well, I know that I need to times it by 0.02. And then if I add up what's in the circles here, what I have chunked, I get 0.27. So you will see I get the exact same answer as this last step. The difference is you do not then need to turn it into a decimal because you've left the decimals in your answers. So you have to choose when we're looking at those larger numbers with the decimals, do you, option 1, turn it into a whole number first, do your calculation and then turn it back to a decimal, or are you more comfortable with doing your long division using the decimals? So that's a choice. That's for you to decide what method is more suited to you. And then this last question here, this is another question that you'll be coming up with today that you'll be having a go at. 7.2 divided by 10. I wonder if you can think of what the trap might be here. What do you think some children might do? Well, they might try to turn it into a whole number. So 72 divided by 10 and then turn it back into a decimal. Do we need to do that here? No, because we know when dividing by 10, 100 or 1,000, it's super easy. All you need to do is think of your place value chart and know that when we're dividing by 10, the numbers move one place, as you can see here. So the answer is just 0.72. So that's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to be looking at lots of different questions to do with dividing decimals by 2-digit numbers, and you'll need to decide what's the best method. Now, some questions you'll be able to do in your head, like that last one that we've just looked at. Some questions you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen so you can do some calculations. Make sure you do your calculations accurately and answer them on the to-do. If you've got any questions, make sure you contact us. Have a great day.